We did not have a name for this league when we started. Somebody mentioned that maybe we should honor Jackie Robinson, since our push is to try to entice young kids of color to play this game.
There are so many traits that we should all aspire to emulate that Jackie brought to the forefront. And this is more than just what he did for baseball, but what he did for this country.
First, we had to make sure that we could live up to the standards of Jackie Robinson. It's great to name your league League 42, but if you don't follow his lead, all you've done is capitalize on his name.
Safe! Jackie embodied so many amazing attributes that we should all aspire to try and live up to them. We may not be able to get to where Jackie was, because he was unique, he was special, but we should all aspire to try to be more like Jackie.
Go! Go! Tag it! Yeah!
Good game. Good game. Good game. They've learned to follow Jackie's lead over the years that we've had this league. They're aware of Jackie Robinson from the moment they sign up. And the statue is certainly our most visible and profound statement of Jackie. Our whole league is dedicated to him.
Jackie Robinson's breaking of the color barrier wasn't just a part of the civil rights movement, it was actually the beginning. So this is before Brown versus the Board of Education. This is before Rosa Parks' refusal. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was merely a sophomore at Morehouse College when Jackie signed his contract. So for all intents and purposes, this is what started the ball of social progress rolling in our country, baseball. But every now and then, someone does something that seemingly is so despicable that it makes you want to wave the white flag and just give up on humanity.
Thieves who managed to cut down and then steal a bronze statue of Jackie Robinson.
The crime caught on surveillance video early last Thursday. Brazen theft at a public park that for many in Wichita, Kansas, is personal.
That statue was at the entrance to the League 42 baseball fields, which hosts a youth baseball program named after the baseball legend.
I actually got here a little bit later in the morning that day. I'd had some errands to run, and as I pulled in, I did not look over there.
I get in at 10. So when I came in, I did not notice anything.
And when I do walk out of the building, I did always look over at the statue. And that particular day, January 25th, it was pretty cold, pretty dreary, a little bit misty, cloudy, foggy. And when I looked over, I didn't see the statue.
Once Bob left, I thought that was it for the day. I heard the door open, he came back in, and he said, "Jacqueline, can you get out here?" And it was a different tone in his voice. I knew something immediately was wrong.
I don't know, it's like I had an emptiness, and I didn't know if I was not seeing it because of the weather or if my eyes were not focused.
I looked over, I blinked a few times, maybe my eyes were deceiving me too, and then I just confirmed to him, I don't see it.
I asked her to go over and take a look because I had a strong fear and suspicion of what had happened, and I didn't want to go over and look, so I asked her to. She did.
When I saw the feet were there and nothing else was there, I knew it was stolen. I just had to cover my mouth and like run back to the office because it was such a disturbing image to see.
She came back with a photo of the Jackie Robinson feet being the only thing that remained of that statue. I felt empty, I felt defeated, and in the very few minutes after I saw that photograph, my reaction was to say, I can't do this. This is too hard. This is so devastating that I'm not sure I can go on.
My phone rang and I looked and I saw that it was Bob. When I first answered the phone, it was hard to understand what he was saying, and I could tell that he was very emotional. So at first he just said, well, it's gone, it's gone. I'm like, what's gone, Bob? And he said, the statue. And I said, the statue? I mean, how is it gone?
I was at work and I received a text from him stating that the Jackie Robinson statue had been stolen and was gone. He said he couldn't talk and that he was devastated and he really didn't know if he could go get past this. And my response was, don't let the evildoers win.
I then started to do an internet search, and of course by that time the surveillance video had been posted on some of the local stories, and I'm sitting there in utter disbelief.
I just kind of sat there for a minute, and the first thing that entered my mind, honestly, was, I was like, man, that has to be a hate crime. Who would steal a Jackie Robinson statue?
You felt like you had been punched in the gut, and which is still in disbelief that someone would steal that incredible and amazing statue the way that it was done.
Hey, on a high hopper like that, catch it up here like this, okay?
He has a real passion for wanting every kid to have exposure to the game.
It was bothersome to me that some kids were being shut out of playing because of the costs, which have risen tremendously over my lifetime.
And that has really hindered a lot of kids from even attempting to play the game because they just simply cannot afford to play the game.
All right, that's gonna be your game. Everybody on the line. Way to go.
He talked about that a lot, wanting to give opportunities to urban youth or youth who didn't have a chance necessarily to play baseball affordably.
A caller reminded me on our radio show, I talk a really good game about starting a youth baseball league for urban kids, but when am I really going to do something? And that really struck a chord. That's where it all started. I put out some feelers on social media to see if anybody might be interested in jumping on this train. 1, 2, 3. Fighters!
And what was most impressive about it and what got me so involved was when I saw that it was a passion of Bob Lutz.
We canvassed Wichita, trying to get kids to sign up, trying to find coaches.
We went from house to house in the neighborhood, and at the time it was a lot of gang activity going on. And when I sat back and watched Bob and people looking out their windows and who's this white man in our neighborhood knocking on everybody's door, that day I really realized that he was passionate about helping kids in this community.
We were able to get 16 teams, just more than 200 kids in 2014, our very first year. We played on fields that hadn't been played on in decades.
The baseball fields over at McAdams Park really hadn't had a lot of love. I don't think they really had a lot of usage.
But we were playing baseball, and that was the important thing. And from there it grew, and now we're at almost a little more than 600 kids. Good job. Good job, way to hustle.
He's obviously a charming guy. He's outgoing, he's talkative, he's gregarious, all of those things. So I think that combined with, hey, we're helping kids, and you have a positive, charismatic guy delivering that message, I think it was probably bound to start off pretty well.
And it's been remarkable to watch how it's grown and to watch the reaction of the kids and the families.
Good job, Darian!
And what it's done for the community. He's inspiring, really.
So it's an opportunity to get kids to love a sport in general. So even if they don't end up loving baseball, they had a chance to play a team game and learn what it means to be a teammate and the responsibilities there.
You have to be coachable, and everybody sitting here is. When we started this league, I was all about, let's see if we can develop a lot of great baseball players. Let's really dig in and give them what we can, and maybe some kids will play high school baseball, college baseball, pro baseball, and that's all still great. But for me, the big thing is trying to help kids in their academic pursuits, in their life pursuits. We have a lot of programs now that are designed to help kids beyond sports.
Because this is less than one. Yes. So you're dividing a fraction less than one, you're actually making it bigger.
Sports is a way to get them in the door, but once they're in the door now, we want to try to help them in as many ways as possible. So we have something we call the Passion Project. We bring in people from all walks of life to talk to our kids about the importance of passion, how vital it is to success.
Prior to becoming a police officer, I played baseball for the San Diego Padres organization for 7 years. I grew up in a broken home. My parents were divorced at an early age. We didn't have a whole lot of money for sports and fun things. So I knew at an early age I had to find a passion and something that was going to get me out of that struggle that we were going to be in. I could see it where it was going at that point. So I started working hard at baseball.
I've seen it happen a lot where kids who weren't even interested in baseball and got involved in League 42, and I saw how it affected their families.
League 42 has been embodying the values that made Jackie the incredible human being that he was.
But he always points back to, it's about Jackie Robinson, which that's the core. Everything Jackie represents is what this league is representing. And so without Jackie Robinson, we don't have League 42.
Part of the reason for this level of anger is that my childhood friend, John Parsons, created this statue, and he passed away in 2022.
It was definitely two parts for him. It was the theft of the statue and then the loss of the statue because his friend had made it.
Well, when we decided that League 42 was going to be our name and we were going to honor Jackie Robinson, I don't know that it immediately jumped to my mind that we needed to do that in a statuesque way. And I mentioned this to him way back. I don't know exactly when, but in the early stages of League 42, how much would it cost to do a statue? Is that something you'd be interested in doing? And he was.
It took a long time, took several years to get the funds. And John was really, really excited about it, of course.
He was a taxidermist for a long, long time. And while he was out hunting one day, he fell out of a tree stand and badly damaged his spine.
He was told he would never walk again. He broke his back, but he did. He had a handicap. He walked with a cane, but he did everything. He would refused to be considered handicapped.
He's a world-class artist, and he was so excited about this particular statue and what it represented and where it would be located. But then we had to embark on the journey of getting approval, which was a challenge because we had to go through the foundation of Jackie Robinson. We had to go through the family, and then John had to design the statue, and that's a big process as well.
The head. The head was the big deal. He would work on it, send pictures to Jackie's widow and his daughter, and they went back and forth for months to get it right.
We had toyed around with it. John, I think, had made 3 or 4 subtle changes. Finally, with a bigger smile, we were able to move forward.
I remember when I first saw the prototype and then the statue itself, I was like, man, we gotta do something special for him.
I don't think I'm making this up. I think there was a gasp because it's just such a beautiful piece of work, and we were all proud of John for getting that done, and it was really the highlight of his career, in my opinion, because he had done now a statue that depicted an actual person, and not just a person, but an icon. That's a special place, and we'll be gathering there tomorrow at 10:30 for anybody who wants to come and just be together. We have 600 kids in League 42. I don't know what their reaction is. I can't imagine that it's very good.
Jackie Robinson is everything to us.
It was sad in many ways, but it was also uplifting to see that number of people come by.
And our players, some of whom are here today, that if you all would come up here, our players, because this is what this is all about.
We're cleaning house, and I give him a couple bucks for doing chores and things of that nature. So he had taken out the trash for me, and I gave him a couple dollars, and I was getting them ready to come here so we could see where the statue had been taken. We're standing around, and we were hearing the speeches and hearing them talk about Jackie, and I think my son, it kind of struck a chord in him. And he felt compelled to want to give a couple dollars to Bob and just let him know that he was here to support.
Well, a kid handed me $2 and said, "This is what I want to do. I'm very sorry this happened," and he's a 7-year-old kid.
I gave Mr. Bob $2 to replace the statue.
And I know his parents probably said, "Here's what, why don't you go give Bob this?" Or maybe not. Maybe this is $2 that this young man had and just felt like he wanted League 42 to have that.
I didn't witness it, but he told me, and it just, I got goosebumps. It just made me happy.
He knew he wanted to help put the statue back and do what was right for the league, and it was like the sweetest thing that could have come out of this whole thing.
I know he was very touched by that because I think there's a pretty big part of him who wanted the kids to kind of understand the gravity of this moment.
It renews your spirit. It renews your belief in people. What had begun to waver, again, even though you know that there are more good people than bad people, you just start to doubt that, and all of a sudden, it stems the tide, and there you go. And it lifts your spirit in a way in which you do regain that belief in humanity.
To see someone that young would kind of be able to understand that, League 42, we're kind of like a family, and we had a loss, we got to get it back, and that he's doing what he could do.
The reaction that I gave him, which was completely spontaneous, I just grabbed him and hugged him and told him that's the nicest thing I've ever seen, and he was very proud.
Kids just have like an innocent nature about them when it comes to things like that. So that was the first thing that came to my son's mind, and it really made me proud to be his mom in that moment.
I felt shocked inside, and I felt sad inside and mad at the people.
Marcus's gesture is Wichita. It's one of the things that, I believed it when I ran for office. I always said our strength was our people, but Marcus's gesture shows that. A young kid who's like, here's my $2.
I want to see the statue again. It was amazing. It was big, and I loved it. He was holding the bat. He had League 42. He had his outfit on. He was ready to go.
He is an African-American little boy, and he identifies with Jackie in that way. He wants to play sports. He wants to be great. He wants to be a great player. He wants to be a great kid.
And that, to me, is where the light comes from. That's the beauty of humanity. That's the winning spirit of Jackie Robinson.
He's very resilient, even when it comes to him wearing his hearing device. He doesn't miss a beat. He's just resilient in that way. He just kind of goes with the punches and he works it out, and he shocks me a lot, but in a good way.
I think it's the greatest sport ever.
Why?
Because you get to cheer on your teammates, you get to have fun, you get to feel that energy.
There you go, partner.
Let's go! Your mom and dad get to inspire you. Your mom and dad get to support you.
We're out here every game and we're enjoying it. Now we're baseball parents, and yeah, it's just been awesome. It's been one awesome journey for us.
This horrendous, disgusting act really caused me a pause. And it caused pause because of the impact. No matter the motivation of those who were involved, they were not only stealing from community, they're also stealing from the legacy of work that has been put in by the members of League 42. They've been stealing from the hard work of our city teams that have beautified the north end of McAdams Park, but more importantly, they're stealing from the kids. And then I just thought, who would steal a statue? Like, it just didn't make sense. And later got pissed off about it, and then I immediately thought about the impact to the young people, as well as the founders of League 42.
Eventually I got my wits about me, and my prevailing attitude is that we're not going to be defeated. That doesn't speak to our community. It's not who we are. What can we do to move forward and to make something positive out of a terrible negative?
So he just texted me and said, "Can you start a GoFundMe?" Absolutely, I'll figure it out. And so I did.
That Sunday after the statue had been taken, we had posted it, and the donations trickled in. We were surprised. I didn't know how it would do. We set a goal of $100,000, thinking we'll never get to that.
I would open it every couple of hours, and I would look at it, and it just kept growing. We're gonna be able to replace the statue.
There have always been and always will be more good people than bad people. Yeah, and we know this.
Bad things are gonna happen, and there's people out there that don't really care about anybody else except for themselves. But for the most part, I think the world is really good.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
In Wichita, it'll be Garvey Park.
Tell me exactly what happened.
There's a trash can that's on fire and it's all melting down.
326 and 327, can you start to Garvey Park to meet with fire? They located the missing Jackie Robinson statue. They're asking for...
8:38 this morning, fire department received a phone call in reference to a trash can fire here at Garvey Park. Shortly after extinguishing the fire department saw what appeared to be pieces of the Jackie Robinson statue, which is not salvageable at this time.
I got a phone call from my son, and he said they had been alerted that there was going to be a news conference. So I jetted down to Garvey Park and I was there for the news conference and saw the statue remnants that were laying on the ground at the time.
But this now lets us know that we need a new statue. We're no longer looking for a complete intact statue. We know now we need to raise the money to replace it, and we will do so.
I think people all over were just aghast at that someone could do this, or some group of people could do this. Obviously, this is not the result we wanted, but it is a result, and now we can move on. I knew that this would be a national story because of the impact of Jackie Robinson. And when the statue was recovered, it blew up nationally. It was on the NBC Evening News, it was on World News Tonight, and everywhere you turned, you saw this Jackie Robinson statue. It just became, I mean, it was on Saturday Night Live.
Police in Kansas found a stolen statue honoring Jackie Robinson, but say that it was damaged beyond repair. Also, police shot it because it refused to drop the bat.
And then what happens? The good people step up. Yeah, they step up. And that is what we saw take place there in Wichita as the word started to continue to spread.
Our GoFundMe page blew up and the donations just poured in, $5 at a time, $50. And in a few days, we were at $195,000.
There are people that recognize that we are doing and offering a great service and opportunity for children and families in this community and beyond. It just made me feel good.
If you have anything, $5, $10, $100, $1,000, please contribute to that. I'll be doing the same. We intend to get that statue back up.
The search for the suspects now intensifies. The culprits caught on security video hauling away the statue, leaving nothing behind but Robinson's bronze baseball cleats. Police say they've since recovered the truck, but have yet to track down those inside.
Was this a race crime, which would indicate that the people who did this act had malicious intent regarding race, that they did it because Jackie Robinson was black, they don't like black people, they don't want a black person represented in that way in the community.
I don't know that I was worried that it was racial. It was in the back of my mind. I wanted to know first. I've really worked to not jump to a conclusion. I felt I was leaning that way, but I really wanted to know if there was any information that could discredit that quickly.
On February 12th, 2024, our investigators presented the case details to Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett. In response, DA Bennett formally charged 45-year-old Ricky Alderetti, who is currently in custody. The investigation has not revealed any evidence indicating that this was a hate-motivated crime. Instead, we believe this theft was motivated by the financial gain of scrapping common metal.
What are your thoughts on the declaration that this is not a hate crime?
I didn't think the answer today was sufficient. While I don't know the motivation of the people, I do know that it's a racial crime. It may not be a hate crime. There may not have been hate in the heart when they took their saws and started cutting down the statue, but it's an iconic African-American person, baseball player, that was destroyed. And that's a racial crime, and as far as I'm concerned.
Good afternoon, Mr. Alderetti. It looks like you have a number of counts. In count 1, you're charged with aggravated criminal damage to property. That is a severity level 6 non-person felony. In count 2, you're charged with theft. That is a severity level 7 non-person felony.
I was kind of curious on the reason why. But in the back of my mind, I was kind of like, man, I hope this has nothing to do with like a hate crime or anything like that. And it was kind of like a relief to find out that that wasn't the intention.
I don't know that Ricky had that kind of contemplation cross his mind before he took part in this crime. I don't know that he was even all that thoughtful. In my experience, most of my clients who are still in the throes of addiction aren't thinking past tomorrow. Right? It's how do you score now? How do you take care of things now?
You know, however you want to describe the incident that took place in Wichita, and I understand that it wasn't a racially motivated hate crime. I clearly get that. But it was still a hateful act.
I knew the impact would be racial. And if their motive had anything to do with it other than trying to steal a statue and make some money off of it, and drugs, there's still that element there. That impact is still there. And I think community still felt it in that way in many ways.
It does look like you've completed a financial affidavit, and I will approve that. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. All right? All right. Thank you.
It was a random assignment, and I will tell you right now, full transparency, I was not necessarily happy when I first got it. Because that crime that he committed hurt me too.
It's a story people are interested in. It's a story of violation. And we hope that ultimately it's a story that has a really good ending.
So y'all know the statue was stolen, right? And the people who stole it, they drove up on the sidewalk, they backed the truck up, they cut off the statue right here, and they put it in the truck and drove away, right? It was on the news, so we don't want that to happen again, where somebody can drive up and steal the statue. So we're gonna put something there called bollards. Can y'all say bollards? Bollards. Okay, bollards are like big pieces of concrete that keep people from being able to drive. You can walk around it, but you can't drive through it. It'll tear your car up.
And my involvement began with doing the artwork for that plaza and having the opportunity to make artwork about Jackie Robinson and his life. I always do research on projects. Part of my research, I found one of Jackie Robinson's daughter's book. Her name is Sharon Robinson, and she wrote a book called Jackie's 9 Values to Live By. That book is what guided the artwork that I made that's existing at the park and what helped to inform the work that we're doing now. If somebody would mess with Jackie Robinson, that's like apple pie, okay? That's like, I don't know how much more quality American you can get. That hurt and all that it took to create that space and how many children use the space, but how the statue was treated was, it kind of, there's like a traumatic memory type of thing, you know, with thinking about, well, people have done that to Black bodies. So to see that was, that hurt. It's kind of like orange, though. We could have orange stitches.
I wasn't surprised necessarily. I mean, something that happens, it kind of comes with the territory of having art out in the public. It does get defaced for all kinds of different reasons. Vandalism, to make a statement, to, you know, political statement or whatever, or otherwise. But yeah, I was mostly confused.
I work with youth like yourselves. I work with grown-ups and families. And sometimes it's hard, like it says, when words are not enough, sometimes it's hard to find the words to describe how you feel, especially if you're like really sad or really mad or something really, like you have a strong feeling. And so this is a way to make art about how you feel, and it makes it feel better.
It's always important to me to listen to children, give them an opportunity to speak, give them a space where their voice can be heard, because they're the ones that are going to grow up and this is their space. We're leaving it to them, everything that we're doing. So they should absolutely have a sense of ownership, and we can learn from them. Okay, I'm going with the glass.
She talked about adding some sort of writing to the bollards, kind of like a signed baseball, you know, a very iconic thing, you know, for a baseball to get signed by players. And she kind of wanted to capture the same feel, the same idea, but do it with the input of the children from League 42.
So they'll be made out of mosaics, which is tile, pieces of tile. But what's going to make it special, the words that you write are going to be printed on the tile. So this way you can be a part of the artwork too. So you pick the one you like, and don't write the value, don't write what this says. I want you to be, which one do you like the most? Okay, if you're like, I like persistence, and you want to write never give up, or whatever your words of wisdom, I want to hear your voice, okay?
With some new technology, I'm able to do that through decals that are applied to the tiles. So their writing will actually be on these tiles in a permanent way. As they grow older, become teenagers and adults, they can go back to that space and still see their handwriting on these tiles.
I want it to be something that comes from you. And when you're grown and old, you're gonna come back and you'll be like, there's something I wrote when I was 9, 10, how old y'all? 10, 9 and 10. You're gonna come back and say, here's what I wrote when I was 9 and 10, okay?
Because then it's like they put their hands on it, they protect it, they value it, it's a part of them too.
To treat people the same no matter who they are Misha. Misha? Oh, I can be everything. It takes a lot of work. Darius. Yay! Never give up, because someday your dream will come true. No matter what your town or neighborhood does, being positive will improve the lives of others. If you are courageous and confident in yourself, you can do anything you can put your mind to. And they're not my words, they are whatever this person thought was most important. And so to make that something that's long-lasting and permanent helps them to have a legacy too. That's a really powerful thing. Jackie Robinson never gave up, and he got up every time he got down.
For us to be able to accept these bronze cleats, and it's almost symbolic in the weight that he carried. Yeah, those strong feet carried an entire race of people. Yeah, so it is almost symbolic in its own way that this would be what would be remaining, and what a perfect symbol it is to have showcased here at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
I knew a lot of the stories about what he went through, playing baseball and the discrimination he faced and how it impacted his team. For whatever reason, I always saw those problems as challenges that I should in some way take on as a black man, seeing that we still face those challenges.
And to see what he went through to end up in Major League Baseball as the first African-American player, that was just amazing to me.
No player in the history of baseball, I think, was ever subjected to the vile baiting from opposing bencher, the basically unkind criticisms in print. He played admirably in spite of it all. He really turned the other cheek. He is a credit to baseball and to America.
When we think about Jackie's story, we more times than not, we focus on the tremendous social adversity, the social pressure that he was under. And I don't even want to try to minimize it. It was real. Yeah, no, people came to the ballpark expressly to hate on Jackie.
Of course, my family members, my grandmother, my uncles would talk about that. So it wasn't just how great he was at baseball, but really what he had to endure.
He was different. He had like a versatile cleverness about him. He was passionate about baseball, but then he also had the ability to withstand what he had to go through in order to play baseball.
And somehow or another, he was able to play a game that is predicated on failure. At its crux, baseball is a game of failure, and yet he cannot fail. No, he can't fail.
With a 3-2 count, Jackie walloped a home run into the lower left field stand.
If he fails, an entire race of people would have failed. And the grace, class, and dignity in which he conducted himself in the face of this adversity, and then to play the game as brilliantly as he did, is absolutely remarkable.
Robinson played brilliantly and drew just the kind of huge crowds that Branch Rickey had hoped for. By July, the Dodgers were in first place.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 run. Jackie at the bat. Here's what he done. He hit the ball with the bat. The bat hit the ball. You should have heard those fans all going. Good, it's going. This time it's in his on. They do the baseball boogie when Jackie comes running home.
I'd love for our kids, our players, to be aware of Jackie Robinson. Not just aware, but if somebody were to come up to you and ask you about Jackie Robinson, I would love for all 600 plus of our players to be able to say something about Jackie Robinson. The theft of the statue has really, in one of the good ways, it's allowed people to learn more about Jackie Robinson. 77 years later, after he broke Major League Baseball's color barrier. So his name is still alive. What Negro League baseball team did Jackie Robinson play for? Say it loud.
The Monarchs.
The Monarchs. Very good. We can never forget his contributions, not only to baseball and sports, but to civil rights and humanity. One of the great people to ever live, and we're very honored to represent him. There's no one in the history of sports who's made a bigger impact than Jackie Robinson. The whole history of sports, regardless of athlete, Jackie made the biggest impact of anyone to ever play sports. So, when we put the statue back in early August, it's going to be an incredible day for us. And I can't wait for that to happen. We know what's ahead of us. We know we're going to incorporate a brand new statue that looks exactly like the old one. John Parsons was a dear friend, gifted artist, and there was no one else who we wanted to do this. And fortunately, the mold from his work is still viable, and the statue that reappears at McAdams Park will be the work of John Parsons. We're ready for some joy, we're ready for some happiness, and we're going to pursue that in the best way we can. Well, I'm not a sculptor, but my understanding was from people I had talked to that there's a mold and it has a lifespan where it can be used again. So I called Carol Parsons, John's wife, and I said, does a mold still exist of this statue?
Yes, and I was pretty sure it was still good. The molds don't last forever. The foundry stores them. The mold was only about, 4 years old now? 4 years old. So it was still good, yep.
We want John's work back up. We heard from many people, make it bigger, make it better, make it different. As much as I appreciate those sentiments, the statue that John produced means everything, not only to me, but to our organization. We're very thrilled and excited that sometime in August, we're gonna put up a statue that we can not only celebrate Jackie, but also remember my good friend John.
You want another one? Yeah, I'll give you another one. I want you to it's gonna be permanent, so I gotta make a good job.
Helping young people have a mind state where even if they meet adversity, they don't quit. And a lot of their statements about don't give up, hold on to your dreams, because that's what they understand and experience from Jackie Robinson's life. They have the funding to replace the statue, and they have the original mold, so it will be exactly as the original artist made it, which is great because he's no longer living. Materially, everything will be restored. But the thing is that to address the hurt that was caused, people need an opportunity to respond in a healthy way.
When Jackie Robinson always hits the ball, it feels like a spark. They have that inspiration to do baseball. So he inspired me. He put a spark in all of us.
I said, what do the grown-ups need to know? How can you help us be better? What's something, if you could teach everybody something in the community to make the community better, what would you say? What would Jackie Robinson do based upon those values? So they have responded with these statements that they've written. Anybody can go to it, anybody can access it, but also that it's for everyone, and it's transformative both in the process of it being made, and that's why we have this engagement process, but also it's permanent and it's an ongoing reminder of those values that we want to continue, that we want to perpetuate, that we want to be strengthened in the communities.
Deep-rooted change in a community takes a long time. It's a long haul game that we're playing here. That's one of the reasons that these type of projects are so important. Is that project gonna have a radical change in the community in the next year? Probably not. But over the years, as those kids continue to be engaged with League 42, to have that point of reference with the sculpture and Jackie's story, all of those things I hope will continue to touch all the kids in different moments in their life and help them see a better path for themselves.
Now you'll have young people invested in these messages that are going to stay there. And they'll be able to always come back and say, you know, something bad happened here, but look at the good that came from it because we all came together. You know, that's a big deal.
Judge, I want to introduce you first to the gentleman I met when I met Ricky Alderete when I was assigned this case. The picture here is his mugshot from not long after he was detained. As you can see, he presents very differently today. In that photo, he's got one eye looking at the camera, the other eye staring off into the ether. The reason why is because he's still coming down from a fentanyl use, Judge.
When I met Ricky, he was still coming down from his addiction. He was still coming down from being high, and I think that Ricky would tell you he doesn't remember our first conversations. I also didn't hide from him that this has made national news. And there's going to be a lot of interested parties. And some of those interested parties are not that interested in seeing your best future. So we should talk about how are we going to handle that when it comes down to that? How are we going to handle it when your face is one of the most hated faces in all of Wichita's history?
As I mentioned in my motion, Ricky Alderete doesn't have a penny to his name. Even the clothes on his back now don't belong to him. There is no financial number he can give Bob Lutz ever that will resolve the harm that was caused in this matter. There's only the chance that they might meet, talk, and have that conversation, that we might start some kind of road to real recovery. And in this matter, I hope and pray that all parties feel as if we have started that path.
I don't think criminal punishment is the resolution of a matter. I think that is just a societal conclusion as to what to do with that individual. So how can we create real reconciliation in such a terrible set of circumstances? The answer is, Ricky, you need to make right with Bob at least.
My curiosity about Ricky, why he did it, what he was thinking, what was the motive, how does he feel about it. I welcome the opportunity to get to sit down with him and ask him those questions.
We got to get Bob and Ricky in the room together. So I've never done that in another case. I've got something like 2,300 cases to my name. Never done it, I've thought to do it, I suppose, but I never pushed so hard to get it done as I did here.
I felt a sense of satisfaction after our talk because he did answer the questions I had. He seemed genuine. He seemed truly remorseful, apologetic.
But he was incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to speak with Bob face to face, person to person, and really get a chance to clear the air with Bob. He was incredibly grateful. And I think what was amazing and very telling about him is that after that conversation, our conversation turned to he accepts his fate, whatever that may be.
First of all, I'd like to apologize, Mr. Lutz and League 42, City of Wichita. I let fentanyl take over me and made a lot of poor decisions.
I'm not going to deny that. I never meant to hurt anybody. I've had a drug addiction for a long time. I've never asked for help. Had problems, and the only thing I've never known to run to was drugs.
I harbor no ill will toward Ricky Alderete. I harbor ill will toward his act, and I've come to understand that that act was fueled by drug addiction.
It was easy for Bob to hate Ricky, but he didn't.
I'm sorry. So sorry for my family. Sorry I'm not there right now.
Jackie Robinson said this quote here in the I Believe speech to NPR, and he talked about some of the imperfections and struggles he had to deal with. I think his last words are that, I believe in the human race. I believe in the warm heart.
I believe in man's integrity. I believe in the goodness of a free society. And I believe that the society can remain good only as long as we are willing to fight for it and to fight against whatever imperfections may exist.
Jackie Robinson means a lot to me too. But in having the opportunity to work on this case and having the opportunity to work with Ricky and with his family and with the care of Bob Lutz, I've discovered that Ricky Alderete has a huge heart. It's poisoned, it's blocked by this addiction that has to be overcome if he has any hope of prosperity and for his family's prosperity.
The stealing of the Jackie Robinson statue set in motion a chain of events that he could not have imagined. His world came crumbling down because he caused our League 42 world to come crumbling down. In response to that, League 42 will be stronger and more united than ever. This morning, we erected the new Jackie Robinson statue at McAdams Park, and we will unveil it Monday evening. We will celebrate a joyous occasion because those of us in League 42 decided not to let this act impede our mission. When we named our league after Jackie Robinson, we understood the responsibility that comes with that. Jackie represents so much that is good, and we teach his lessons as much as we can. Be strong, persevere, overcome obstacles, lead, be forceful yet respectful. Ricky Alderete, no doubt, could have used a program like League 42 when he was young. My hope, our hope, is that he truly sees the error of his ways and comes out of this experience as a better husband, father, and man.
Every fan knows of Jackie Robinson's accomplishments in professional ball. What is less well known, but also of great importance, is his work with the youth of America, especially in the field of drug abuse.
In the months since this all happened, I've become much more interested in what can be done about drug addiction.
I am sure that I can speak for every concerned parent in thanking him for this vital contribution to the lives and to the future of our young people.
I'm going to do what I can to talk to our kids about it, to make sure that they are aware as much as they can be about what drug addiction can do to them.
It is through such dedication and determination today, just as it was a quarter of a century ago, that lives are enriched and strengthened and our country made a better place for all. Signed, Richard Nixon.
Good evening. We are here. A long time coming. All of our players come up to the front where you can see. This is about you. I'm just simply amazed by the support we've gotten from so many people who have reached out since this heinous act happened back in January. People tell me all the time that they can't believe the silver lining that has come from this, and they're right. It's been an incredible, positive, joyful experience. Made more the incredible by all the support that we received, of course, financially, emotionally. It's just been an incredible almost 8 months.
This is a great day in the city of Wichita. I want to thank you all for being here, but this is about the young people that we see in the League 42 uniforms. As I said from the beginning, the tragedy was a theft from them. But from that theft, we saw Wichita come together like we always do. People pouring into our young folks and community. We see the statue is back. And what matters from all of this and the lesson that we can learn is in this city, when bad things happen, we come together.
You should be outraged that these people stole from kids. It should happen. I was outraged. Where you fail is if you just stay outraged and you don't do anything positive. And I think, without being able to talk to Jackie Robinson, I'm pretty sure he probably was always outraged by the disrespectful things that happened to him just because of the color of his skin. But the lesson there was he just didn't let it stop him.
We know that out of darkness comes light. And I think we were able to bear witness to that. For all of you here in the great city of Wichita, and for those from near and far who saw and witnessed this, but didn't sit back passively, they were moved to do something. And if we can instill just a portion of those many attributes that Jackie so beautifully carried with him, then there would indeed been good that came out of bad.
All right, I don't want to put too much pressure on this next speaker, but I'm just going to say, are you ready for the main event? Yeah! Marcus Jones, would you come up? Here we go. This is your opportunity, my friend.
So Jackie Robinson was the first African American to play Major League Baseball, and he was one of the greatest players of all time, and he put a spark in all of us. That's it.
How good was that? Short and sweet. He exemplifies one of 600 kids who I love. This all has to be a lot for him to take in, but he's taken it in and he's reacted tremendously well. And I think this experience will be extremely profound for him for the rest of his life. All right, let's do it.
I'm sure that all of those amazing people who've been involved with League 42 will feel a level of vindication, and we will all be tremendously proud of that moment, because again, it speaks to the power of the human spirit to persevere and prevail.
Love you, Marcus. You're a great kid.
Embedded in that spirit, again, is something that we should all aspire to be. More like Jackie.
Mm-hmm.